pulse of life surges along the world's largest migration corridor, a breathtaking spectacle of movement and raw power. Here, giants, the African buffalo, tear through the dense forest, their colossal footsteps thundering like ancient war drums echoing through the savanna. The ground trembles beneath the weight of these magnificent creatures. Predators, acutely aware of this constant movement, stalk the edges of the woodlands. A single, brittle twig snaps underfoot, a chilling reminder of the vigilance required to survive. These hunters patiently wait for just the right moment to break cover and seize their prey. Within the woodlands of Serengeti, a remarkable biological zone transition occurs in East Africa. This region is a battleground, a place where the most powerful predators, lions, leopards, and hyenas, fiercely compete for the coveted crown of the top predator. It's a brutal, beautiful struggle for dominance. But who truly reigns supreme? Who is the most skillful hunter in this incredible ecosystem? Let's find out. Welcome to the Woodlands of Serengeti, a world of breathtaking encounters and the relentless pursuit of survival. Not the vast savanna or the untouched rainforests, just tall, scattered trees with quiet, open ground beneath. That's the rugged face of the woodland. Within it, the rhythm of life never stops, moving in tune with the raw pulse of survival. The warriors guarding this land never truly rest. Or maybe they're simply fighting to carve out their own place in it. Impala and warthog stay alert, listening for the claws of the leopard. The migrating herds flee a silent fear known as the Nile crocodile. Whenever they lean down to drink, Cebus monkeys spend their lives in the high branches, hoping to make it through just one more day. Clouds of dust and mud burst into the air under the stomp of a buffalo, a herald that a battle is about to begin. The wild doesn't wait for tomorrow. Any moment could be the last. Some dive in, jaws snapping. Some give chase, others wait in still, quiet ambush. Ambush. Can you guess which creatures rule the woodlands of Serengeti? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and keep watching to see if you guessed right. The Serengeti stretches from Tanzania into parts of Kenya, encompassing an ecosystem that spans over 30,000 square kilometers. This vast area includes endless grasslands, scattered woodlands, the Ngorongoro Conservation Area, and the Masai Mara Game Reserve. The strips of woodland in the Serengeti are mainly found in the western and northern parts of Serengeti National Park, where the landscape gradually shifts from open plains to sparsely treed terrain. These woodland patches are scattered throughout the region, some stretching all the way to the Kenyan border, others trailing down slopes toward Lake Victoria, the continent's immense mirror and Africa's largest freshwater lake. This is the subtle boundary between the open savanna and the dense canopied forests. Rolling terrain weaves together low valleys and crater highlands, enriched by mineral-rich basalt soil, formed from the ash and lava of ancient volcanoes. Scattered across the grassy expanses are bare granite kopjes, stone islands rising from a sea of green. Above, the open canopy of acacia and comifera trees lets light through, while below, grasses and shrubs nourish a thriving ecosystem of over 500 bird species and 70 large mammal species. During the rainy season, Serengeti's woodlands take on a fresh, vibrant green. Daytime temperatures climb toward 27 degrees Celsius, while the nights remain pleasantly cool, around 15 degrees Celsius. Rainfall peaks between March and May, with a shorter rainy spell bringing lighter showers from November to December. Temporary streams and pools appear, catching the light like scattered mirrors across the wild landscape. This is when many herbivores gather to graze, drawing in predators that use the trees and shrubs as cover to stay hidden. The Nile crocodile stands as the most enigmatic predator of this wild landscape. When heavy rains arrive, they transform shallow basins into sprawling pools that stretch along the edges of the Gmedi River and its winding tributaries. Here, crocodiles wait with infinite patience. For weeks on end, they remain submerged beneath the murky surface, only their eyes and nostrils exposed, silent traps, biding their time. They emerge only to hunt, or to bask motionless in the sun upon sandy riverbanks. Inside a crocodile's mouth lie between 64 and 68 sharp, cone-shaped teeth, not meant to slice, but to grip and hold with unyielding strength. The bite force of a fully grown adult can reach an astonishing 22,000 newtons, enough to crush the bones of an antelope or even a buffalo. Yet despite this monstrous power, the muscles that open their jaws are surprisingly weak. Almost all of their strength lies in the adductor mandibulae, the muscles that slam the jaws shut, while the small depressor mandibulae, used to open them, remain slender and frail. When the time comes to strike, a crocodile needs only to keep its mouth open, waiting for that sudden explosive snap, a trap sprung with terrifying precision. Among these reptiles, size dictates status. The largest and oldest males dominate the hierarchy, claiming the prime basking grounds and the first rights to any kill. Their communication is as primal as their presence. Deep hisses, guttural bellows, and powerful tail slaps that ripple across the water like warnings carved into the current. With the rains, life surges back. Herbivores flock to the rivers to drink, unaware of the danger beneath the surface. The crocodiles take full advantage, lurking near well-trodden waterholes. They exploit the water's reflection to cloak their approach before exploding forward with shocking speed. large prey stands little chance. Dragged beneath the surface, suffocated, and finally subjected to the infamous death roll, a violent twist that tears flesh apart. Often, other crocodiles join in, sharing the spoils of the kill. But these predators possess another extraordinary trait: the ability to endure long months without food. Thanks to a slow metabolism and the capacity to store energy from a single large meal, they can wait in ambush for weeks, their strength undiminished, their patience unbroken. Now, as the river's surface ripples softly, a Nile crocodile lies hidden, waiting for its next victim. Yet further inland, beyond the water's edge, the Miombo woodland stirs with another force: the low, majestic rumble of giants. African bush elephants arrive in great herds, moving across the savanna like living tanks of muscle and memory. Their immense footsteps crush shrubs and grasses, while wet mud cakes their skin in a protective armor. Each stride snaps branches underfoot, carving new paths through the woodland. But elephants never walk alone. Above their broad backs, flurries of white wings follow like drifting satellites. These are cattle egrets, small opportunists that shadow the herd, seizing the insects disturbed by every step. Even closer are the red-billed oxpeckers. With crimson eyes and sharp beaks, they scour the wrinkled hides for ticks, often probing into open wounds to sip blood, a partnership both beneficial and parasitic. According to a 2023 study in the African Journal of Ecology, more than 70% of elephants host these birds, particularly during the wet season when parasites thrive. The season of rains also transforms the diet of elephants. Grass, abundant and nutrient-rich, forms up to 70% of their intake, as reported by the International Journal of Sciences in 2022. They spend most of their day grazing, but as the dry season grips the land, their feeding shifts toward tougher browse, bark, branches, and woody plants. Every herd is led by a matriarch, the keeper of memory. Her knowledge of hidden waterholes and ancient migration routes guides the family through hardship. Young males, however, leave between the ages of 10 and 19, living solitary lives or joining bachelor groups, reducing conflict while preserving the cohesion of the herd. The elephant's anatomy is a masterpiece of survival. Vast ears act as thermal regulators, releasing heat by pumping nearly 20% of their blood through the paper-thin flaps, an adaptation described in Live Science 2025. Their wrinkled gray skin, etched with thousands of fine cracks, traps water and mud, creating a cooling layer against the relentless sun. At the center of this design lies their most versatile tool, the trunk. A living siphon, it draws water to drink, sprays cooling showers, and digs into parched riverbeds to unearth hidden reserves. These wells often become lifelines for countless other species. The trunk is also a channel of communication, a submissive gesture when pressed to the mouth of a dominant, or a tender caress when a mother soothes her calf. Mud baths serve as armor, shielding skin, repelling parasites, and offering relief from the heat. Yet elephants reshape more than themselves. By snapping branches, stripping bark, and felling small trees, They transform woodlands into open clearings where sunlight fuels new growth. They are ecosystem engineers, dispersing seeds in nutrient-rich dung that nourishes the soil and plants of the next generation. During the rains, elephants follow the green wave, tracking the flush of new grasses. An adult consumes up to 150 kilograms of vegetation in a single day and drinks as much as 230 liters of water. Herds congregate near rivers, ponds, and shallow pools, landscapes bursting with life. It is also the season of renewal. Female elephants come into estrus when food is abundant, while males in must roam far and wide in search of mates. Observations confirm that this heightened state coincides with the rains, when conditions favor new beginnings. By dusk, the elephants move on, leaving churned earth, stripped bark, and freshly dug wells in their wake. In the coming days, grasses will return, nourished by the spaces they cleared and the seeds they scattered. With each step, the woodland regenerates beneath their weight. As the last of the rain dissolves into the valley, it rings like a quiet bell, an atmospheric cue heralding a far grander movement. There is no ceremony, no fanfare, only the deep, rolling thunder of hooves pounding across grassland. The Great Migration begins, more than 2 million wildebeest moving westward toward the fertile basins of the Grumeti and Mara rivers. Along their route lie ecological crossroads, acacia woodland and riverine forest. These transition zones provide shelter, lingering moisture, and pockets of young grass sprouting in the shade. Here, wildebeest pause to graze, drawn to the nutrient-rich shoots infused with nitrogen and phosphorus, vital sustenance for nursing mothers and their fragile calves. GPS mapping of the herds reveals that wildebeest typically linger in these woodlands for 7 to 12 days. At the forefront are plain zebras, natural pathfinders, and vigilant sentinels. Their height and sharp vision allow them to guide the herds and detect danger before it strikes. Alongside them stand the Maasai giraffes. Though not migrants themselves, their towering silhouettes act as living watchtowers. When a giraffe halts or flees, the rest of the woodland takes notice, an unspoken alarm that predators may be near. And predators are never far. In the quiet green shadows, Nile crocodiles lurk at the water's edge. A constant dread murmured among the herds. When prey bends to drink, the sun's reflection blinds them. It is then the river snaps shut in ambush. Many wildebeest perish not to the crocodile's jaws, but in the frenzy of the crossing, trampled beneath their own kind, or swept away by the current. Leopards, too, wait with patient silence, concealed among the woodland's dense trees. A single misstep during the crossing is all they require. The woodland itself erupts with alarms. Vervet monkeys shriek from the canopy, while red-billed oxpeckers lift from the backs of startled buffalo. Heavy bodies churn narrow paths into the soil, leaving deep footprints that fill with rainwater. They tear through shrubs, opening gaps for sunlight to pierce, gaps where, once the storm passes, new grass will take root. At such moments, the woodland becomes a crossroads of survival, a living corridor where species converge to drink, to graze, and to gamble with fate. A 2025 study by the Multidisciplinary Digital Publishing Institute confirms what the herds already know. Woodlands, with their capacity to retain moisture and sustain diverse plant life, are critical refuges during the transition from dry to wet seasons. Yet not all survive the passage. The frail young, or those who lag behind, vanish without a trace. No one turns back. It is a game of chance, with nature as the referee. And when the herds move on, the woodland holds its silent record. Claw marks on bark, wells dug by elephants, trunks broken in the crush of movement. In the hush that follows, resident species linger in the shade, as if offering quiet blessings to the survivors. The predators wait in stillness, and the cycle of life resumes without a single word. And now, the woodland shifts once more into a harsher, more unforgiving phase. Leaves fade to yellow, streams shrink to silence, and the earth beneath a thinning canopy cracks under the weight of drought. The air itself grows brittle. Shafts of sunlight pierce through the canopy, searing the ground below, where bare patches and dust now reign. It is the season of fire. Wild blazes sweep across the woodland, sparked by wind, lightning, and tinder dry grass. Yet here, fire is not only a destroyer, it is a sculptor. Flames clear away old growth, enrich the soil with ash, and awaken seeds that have lain dormant for years. Unlike dense rainforests, these woodlands have evolved to withstand fire. Acacia trees bear thick armor-like bark, while the grasses regenerate within weeks of being scorched. This is the trial of the dry season, a time only the most adaptable can endure. Even after nightfall, the air remains heavy with heat, rarely dipping below 25 degrees Celsius. For some, it's a reprieve. For one, it's opportunity. The leopard. A solitary figure, silent, commanding. Where lions roar to announce their power, the leopard rules through absence of sound. Every creature here knows that silence is the mark of its reign. Its golden coat, freckled with black rosettes, dissolves into bark and shadow. Its eyes burn like coals in the twilight. Yet, the short grasses of the dry season limit its cover, so the leopard turns to a different stage, the watering holes. Here, thirst draws all life together. And here, the leopard waits. Research in biological conservation confirms that during the dry months, leopards increase their hunting success by as much as 7% when ambushing near water. At night, their world expands. GPS tracking reveals they travel nearly twice as far after sunset than in daylight. Males patrol vast territories, asserting dominance. Females with cubs tread carefully, restricting their range to shield their young from rival males who may kill cubs not their own, forcing the female back into estrus. In this harsh season, such infanticide becomes more frequent. But the females fight back with strategy, concealing their young, moving dens, and mating with multiple males to blur paternity, an evolutionary safeguard against extinction. When the hunt begins, the leopard becomes a shadow, flattened low. Each step is a whisper across the dust, closing the distance with surgical precision. A single burst, and the silence explodes. Large prey are subdued with a suffocating bite to the throat or nape. Smaller victims are dispatched with a swift bite to the skull. But the kill is not complete until it is hidden. On average, the leopard drags its prey nearly 100 meters to cover, often hoisting it into the high branches of a tree, sometimes over 10 meters above the ground. Hanging carcasses sway like grim trophies, a declaration of ownership against lions and hyenas. The leopard is not bound to the earth alone. Though rarely seen, it can swim, crossing streams and narrow rivers when the need arises. In the dry season, as lakes shrink, this ability is seldom used, and the leopard instead shifts its focus to larger prey, storing energy for the lean days ahead. Here, in the grip of the dry season, the leopard endures, not through strength and numbers, but through silence, stealth, and an unrivaled mastery of adaptation. They hunt with precision, waiting for the perfect moment, never allowing prey to slip away. Here, the leopard's true weapons reveal themselves: extraordinary hearing and night vision. Its eyes are equipped with a tapetum lucidum, a reflective layer that captures every fragment of light, granting clear sight in near darkness. Its ears catch the faintest stir, the crunch of a hoof on dry leaves, the flick of a rodent tail. Even its claws withdraw completely, ensuring each step remains silent. A muscular frame delivers sudden, explosive bursts of speed, and when the leopard speaks, it does not roar, it coughs, a rasping call, low and hoarse, carrying just far enough through the woodland night to stake its claim. Not a cry to intimidate, but a signal, clear, deliberate, and understood by rivals. Through this stealth and selectivity, the leopard plays an unseen role in shaping the ecosystem. It regulates mid-sized species, small antelope, warthogs, even rodents, preventing imbalance and cascading collapse. Unlike lions or hyenas, which dominate through brute force, the leopard preserves stability through solitude, silence, and precision. Modern conservationists recognize its importance. The Serengeti Biodiversity Initiative, in a 2025 report, continues to track leopards as ecological indicators. Where leopards persist, balance endures. Their survival signals a healthy system still intact. But the leopard's mastery comes at a price. For every step it takes deeper into survival, another life must falter. In the order of the wild, the endurance of one demands the fall of another. And as the herds fade into the distance, the Nile crocodile drifts silently beneath the water's surface, waiting for nightfall. Beyond the clearing, another figure enters the stage, the Maasai giraffe. Stepping gracefully into the gaps the elephants have left behind. Towering above the acacias, it feeds on the tender canopy, a sentinel of the savanna's highest reaches. This is the tallest of all giraffe species and the tallest land animal on Earth. An adult Maasai giraffe can stand as high as 5.9 meters, with nearly half of that height carried in its long, elegant neck. This remarkable build allows them to reach treetops few other herbivores can touch. During the rainy season, when acacia trees burst with fresh leaves, they feed from the canopy downwards. In doing so, they thin the crown, keeping it from growing too dense, and maintain the openness that defines the woodland. Sunlight filters through the gaps they create, nurturing grasses and lower plants that feed countless other species. But their towering stature also carries a hidden vulnerability. To drink, a giraffe must splay its legs or bend its knees to reach the water's surface, a moment of dangerous exposure. In that posture, they become prime targets for lions or leopards. To minimize risk, they choose wide, open watering holes, drink in rapid gulps, and then snap their heads upright, ever alert to danger. Socially, giraffes are fluid in their gatherings. During the rains, they often form temporary groups known as towers. These loose herds, made up of individuals of all ages and sexes, assemble briefly around abundant trees or watering spots. Though there is no hierarchy, safety lies in numbers. More eyes scanning the horizon means less chance of being caught off guard. Yet this giant of the savanna is now under threat. Since 2019, the Maasai giraffe has been classified as endangered by the International Union for Conservation of Nature. Over the last 3 decades, their numbers have plummeted by nearly half, from 70,000 to just around 32,000 in the wild as of 2024. Habitat loss, human encroachment, and poaching, whether for meat or body parts used in traditional practices, have all pushed these animals toward decline. Their story is a stark reminder. Even the tallest creatures on Earth can be brought low by pressures rising from below. The crown of the savanna belongs to only one, the lion. Unlike others, it has no need for rivalry or recognition. As apex predator, it knows its place, both as hunter and as keystone in the ecosystem's balance. Within the pride, rules are clear. The dominant male defends territory and cubs, while the lionesses, sleek, precise, and powerful, carry out the hunt. From the edge of woodlands, where shadow meets open grass, they lie in wait. This threshold is the death line, the boundary every prey must cross. Here, lionesses strike with coordinated force. The male holds back, standing sentinel against threats. Yet, tradition governs the feast. Even after a successful kill, the first bite belongs to him, a reflection of the pride's strict hierarchy. Lions are unique among cats. They live in prides, complex social units bound by cooperation, hunting, defending, and raising the young together. Males, with their thick manes, impress rivals and lionesses alike. More than ornament, the mane serves as armor, shielding the head and neck in battle. The darker and fuller the mane, the stronger and more desirable the male, as studies from the University of Minnesota reveal. A lion's roar, carrying up to 8 kilometers, proclaims dominance across the plains. It defends territory, summons allies, and keeps bonds strong in the vastness of night. For young males, life is unforgiving. At 2 to 3 years of age, they are cast out, forced to wander in search of their own realm. When they seize a pride, they often eliminate rivals' cubs, driving females into estrus, a brutal but effective strategy to secure their own lineage. A lion's territory may span 20 to 400 square kilometers, each boundary marked with scent and thunderous roars. During the dry season, water holes become magnets for prey and ambush grounds for lions. They wait by rivers, rocky outcrops, or thick cover, relying less on speed than patience and teamwork. Capable of bursts up to 80 kilometers per hour, they cannot sustain them for long, making stealth and coordination essential. Diet shifts with place and season. In the western Serengeti corridor, zebras may form nearly half of their prey, alongside buffalo, wildebeest, and warthogs. In the Masai Mara, buffalo hunts grow more common. Yet lions do not simply follow prey abundance, they choose terrain that favors the ambush. Hunting success averages just 20 to 30%. To conserve energy, lions rest up to 20 hours a day, reserving their power for the cool veil of night or the break of dawn. But even rulers are not untouchable. Across Africa, lion numbers are falling. A 2025 study in conservation biology warns that prey loss is driving population declines. It is a stark reminder: if the balance between predator and prey is broken, the entire savanna could shift. And in the open grasslands, there can be only one true sprinter: the cheetah. The cheetah is the fastest land animal on Earth, capable of reaching speeds of up to 120 kilometers per hour in mere seconds. Acceleration that rivals a Ferrari. This astonishing performance is made possible by a lightweight frame, a streamlined body, long, powerful hind limbs, and a tail that works like a rudder, steering each sudden turn with precision. But speed comes with a cost. Their narrow skull reduces wind resistance, yet it also leaves them with weaker jaws and shorter canines, ill-suited for prolonged struggles or defending a kill against larger rivals. To survive, cheetahs select their battles carefully, focusing on the vulnerable, the young, the solitary, the stragglers of the herd. Before the chase begins, a cheetah climbs a termite mound or low rise, scanning wind direction and the movements of gazelles. Like a sentry on watch, it waits for the perfect moment. When the distance narrows to less than 100 meters, the sprint begins. Explosive, lightning fast, but brief, rarely more than 300 meters, before exhaustion and overheating set in. For years, scientists believed overheating forced cheetahs to abandon hunts, but research at the University of the Witwatersrand revealed otherwise. Body temperatures during the chase rarely exceed 38.4 degrees Celsius, rising only after a successful kill, triggered not by exertion but by stress. Even with these limits, cheetahs are remarkably efficient hunters. In the Serengeti, they succeed in 40 to 50% of their attempts against Thompson's gazelles. A female can provide around 10 kilograms of food daily for her family, though she consumes less herself. To maximize success, cheetahs hunt during the twilight hours of dawn and dusk, when the savanna is cooler and dominant predators less active. Yet, unlike leopards, they cannot retract their claws. This gives them unmatched traction while running, but denies them the ability to climb trees or hoist their kills out of danger. Every hunt must be consumed on the ground, vulnerable to theft. Indeed, up to 12% of their kills are stolen moments after the takedown by lions or hyenas. The cheetah's existence is one of constant risk. Their reproductive rate is low, and their young are perilously fragile. In the wild, as many as 90% of cubs under 3 months do not survive. Hidden in the grass while their mother hunts, a single discovery by a predator can end an entire litter. Cheetahs roam vast territories, ranging from 450 to 1,500 square kilometers, patrolled with quiet efficiency. Unlike lions, they defend these ranges not with violence, but with scent, marking the land with minimal conflict. Here, on the endless plains, the cheetah is both the epitome of speed and the embodiment of fragility. Africa's most elegant hunter, racing against time, rivals, and the odds themselves. The woodlands thin, giving way to the vast golden openness of the Serengeti's central savanna, an endless ocean of grass rolling beyond the horizon. Here, cycles of rain and drought govern the rhythm of life. With the rains, the soil softens, grasses surge skyward, and the plains become one of the richest grazing grounds on Earth. In the dry season, the green fades to brittle yellow, water vanishes, and dust scours the land. It is in this crucible of extremes that Africa's most spectacular migrations unfold. From the shimmering edge of the savanna, a lifeline begins to move. Blue wildebeest, a river of muscle and horn, flowing dark and unbroken across the cracked earth. A migration not of individuals, but of an entire species, moving as one. Their synchronized birthing strategy overwhelms predators through sheer force of numbers. Within just a few weeks, thousands of calves are born in what biologists call a calving pulse. For lions, hyenas, and wild dogs, the abundance is a feast, but isolating a single calf amid the flood of newborns becomes nearly impossible. As the dry season tightens its grip and the grasses turn brittle and gold, the herds press onward, drawn toward the last remaining water sources. Their path is not random. It follows ancient migratory routes, etched into both landscape and instinct, carried in the genetic memory of generations. Every dawn and dusk, millions of eyes scan the skies, wary of predators. Yet their hooves never falter, pounding the earth in a steady march across the horizon. Experienced individuals take the lead, guiding the herd through pastures where water still lingers, feeding on the season's final patches of nutritious grass while avoiding the ambushes of lions. The herd itself is a living fortress. Most are females with calves, and when they rest, the young are placed in the center, shielded by vigilant mothers and other adults. At the first alarm, every head lifts, ears twitch, eyes sharpen. This collective vigilance creates a wall of awareness that drastically lowers the risk of predation. Blue wildebeest are endurance specialists. Mature adults weigh between 150 and 250 kilograms, yet their bodies are engineered for distance. Energy-efficient muscles and physiology allow them to travel dozens of kilometers each day on little water, conserving strength while minimizing heat loss. In a sprint, they can surge to 80 kilometers per hour, fast enough to leave even the swiftest predator behind. To sustain this momentum, each animal consumes around 4 to 5 kilograms of grass daily, preferring short, tender shoots that sprout after the rains. Their digestive system is built to rapidly process vast quantities of fiber, fueling the endless march. Grazing tightly together, they remain alert even as they feed. In the rainy season, fresh grass provides not only energy but also water, reducing their dependence on scattered watering holes. In this way, the wildebeest endure, a biological river of life, flowing ceaselessly across the plains. The savanna in the rainy season bursts with life. Wildebeests carve the way forward, and right beside them, plain zebras ripple across the grasslands like a living tide of black and white. Their diet is dominated by grass, accounting for nearly 97% of what they consume. Unlike ruminants with complex stomachs, zebras rely on a simpler digestive system, less efficient, but remarkably fast. This allows them to thrive on tough, fibrous grasses that few other grazers can handle. In doing so, they shape the very structure of the plains. Zebras take the taller, coarser grasses first, clearing the path for wildebeest to feed on the softer shoots beneath. What remains is trimmed even closer by Thompson's gazelles, completing a layered chain of opportunity. But zebras are more than grazers. Their stripes form a shifting shield, confusing predators and providing cover for the herds that travel beside them. Living in family groups led by a dominant stallion, each with several mares and their young, they join into larger herds during migration, where vigilance sharpens. A single snort, a sharp bark, can ripple through the group like lightning, a warning of lions or hyenas in the shadows. As the dry season grips the land and waterholes shrink, zebras lean on memory and instinct, retracing ancient routes toward the last patches of grass and dwindling streams. They remain steadfast in their feeding habits, whether in open plains or on the fringes of woodland. At night, when the sun sinks and the savanna is cloaked in darkness, zebras sleep standing. Yet one always remains awake, keeping watch. Their survival is woven from connection, constant awareness, and an ability to match the relentless rhythms of the land, a harmony etched into the very fabric of time. The rainy season breathes new life into the savanna, and with it, Thompson's gazelles showcase the full extent of their survival instincts. They graze on the tender young grasses that sprout low to the ground, a gift left behind after plain zebras have cropped the taller layers. Agile and swift, these antelopes can reach speeds of 80 to 90 kilometers per hour, as documented by field reports in 2025. Every leap, every sudden twist mid-run, becomes a weapon of survival. Their acrobatic agility allows them to pivot sharply, dodging predators in the heat of pursuit. Yet, as the rains fade and tall grasses rise along the woodland edges, danger lurks more heavily. Many gazelles fall victim here, ambushed while grazing. This is the most perilous time of the year. Within their herds, a clear family structure emerges, each group led by a dominant male, joined by females and their young. Constant vigilance defines their lives. A single snort from one gazelle can launch the entire herd into motion, a synchronized escape from a predator's shadow. Their diet is dominated by grasses, making up nearly 97%, as confirmed by a 2024 science study. Their digestive system is finely tuned for efficiency, extracting every ounce of energy from the soft shoots. When the dry season arrives, they travel vast distances, tracking the rhythm of rain and grass growth across the savanna. To deter predators, they employ stotting, high bounding jumps in a V-shaped posture. This display of vigor signals speed and health, a warning to hunters that the chase may not be worth the cost. Breeding season brings another remarkable adaptation. Between September and November, calves are born almost simultaneously in a phenomenon called birth synchrony. By overwhelming predators with sheer numbers, the odds of survival increase. Within 15 minutes, a newborn can stand. Within an hour, it can run. Many hide in the open grass, lying flat and motionless until strong enough to rejoin the herd. Each young life that endures the rains is more than survival. It is evolution in motion, a quiet triumph etched into the heart of the savanna. The leopard's gaze often falls upon a herd of impala. In the moments before a strike, silence hangs heavy, predator stillness set against the constant vigilance of prey. These graceful antelopes swivel their ears toward every whisper of sound, their bodies tuned to survival. In the dry season, when grasses wither, impala turn to leaves, shoots, and tender bark from low shrubs. The woodlands, rich with this forage, become their gathering ground. With the rains, the cycle shifts, lush grasses return, composing up to 90% of their diet. But as water sources contract, impala are drawn together at the last remaining pools. Here, each step is both a search for water and a calculation of risk. A herd becomes more than a collection of animals. It becomes an early warning system. One stands watch while others feed. Ears flick, eyes scan, and even the sudden flutter of a bird can ripple alarm through the group, sending dozens of bodies quivering on the edge of flight. Scarcity drives competition. In lean times, males guard territory with greater intensity, marking boundaries and fending off rivals. A stronghold is everything, a patch of forage, a source of water, and a haven for females. Battles for dominance echo across the woodland, sharpened by necessity. Unlike the armor of buffalo or the sheer mass of elephants, impala possess only speed and agility. Their defense is motion, leaps that reach 3 meters high and stretch 10 meters forward in a single bound. Bodies like springs coiled with energy. Yet even this is not always enough. At the water's edge, a leopard's ambush unfolds in an instant. Hooves thunder, dust erupts, and the herd scatters in a storm of motion. The weakest, the young, the weary, the careless, are often left behind. The herd moves on without pause. No cries, no mourning, only silence. And for the leopard, the hunt does not end with impala. Beneath the red dust and scattered clearings of the woodland, another quarry soon comes into focus. A warthog, Africa's wild pig, armed with curved tusks, feeds in a posture unlike any other grazer. Dropping to its knees, it roots for tubers and bulbs hidden beneath the hardened woodland soil, extracting life from the earth where others cannot. Unlike most burrow dwellers that retreat in daylight, warthogs are creatures of the sun. Their behavior is strictly diurnal. By night, they vanish underground, often occupying abandoned aardvark burrows. There, families huddle close, females and young forming a living barricade at the entrance against prowling intruders. When threatened in the open, escape comes not through solitary flight, but in a collective dash toward safety. Heads lowered, they plunge into a burrow, sometimes driving predators to abandon the chase rather than risk tusks and injuries. Still, warthogs remain a cornerstone of the leopard's diet. A study by Swanepoel revealed they represent nearly 9% of prey biomass and over 1/5 of successful hunts. Though smaller than many antelopes, their sheer availability makes them a tempting prize. Yet warthogs are vulnerable in ways that favor the predator. Poor night vision, scant body fat, and thin hair leave them ill-suited to darkness and cold. They must feed during the hottest hours of the day, kneeling in the dust, exposed. Ironically, this survival strategy makes them more predictable and more easily hunted. At dusk and dawn, when leopards prowl with greatest stealth, warthogs emerge from their dens. Some leopards have learned this rhythm. They wait at the burrow mouth, motionless, patient, and in that fatal instant, when a snout breaks the surface, survival turns to ambush. A crust of mud falls, tusks strain against coarse hide, and predator and prey meet in the raw equation of life. A stark, unflinching portrait of survival in the African woodland. As the echoes of primate calls fade like distant bells in the canopy above, movement stirs on the forest floor. A black-backed jackal strides through the undergrowth with quiet confidence. Its pelt is a mosaic of colors, silvery gray across the flanks, rusty brown along the sides, and a bold, inky stripe running down the spine. Tall, pointed ears pivot like radar dishes, while sharp, amber eyes scan the woodland, alert to every rustle and whisper. Weighing between 6 and 13 kilograms, the jackal is small by predator standards, yet speed, agility, and cunning turn its size into an advantage. Slipping silently between branches and grass, it navigates terrain where larger carnivores cannot follow. The black-backed jackal is both hunter and opportunist. Alone or in pairs, it scours the woodland for prey. In the rainy season, when life bursts forth, the variety is endless. Beetles and termites scuttling beneath fallen leaves, fledgling birds testing fragile wings, rodents darting through tangles of roots, and hares bounding across the grasslands. At waterholes, jackals lie in wait watching for thirsty visitors. And when the scent of death carries on the damp air, they are quick to respond. With an extraordinary sense of smell, they can detect carrion from more than 2 kilometers away, ensuring they rarely miss the chance for a free meal. But survival here is not only about food, it is about family. Black-backed jackals are among the few monogamous canids in Africa. A bonded pair may remain together for life, hunting side by side and raising their pups as a team. Births often coincide with the rains, when food is plentiful. While the female nurses the young in the safety of a den, her partner stands guard, patrolling the territory and fending off intruders. Their haunting howls echo through the woodland, serving both as warnings to rivals and declarations of their claim. More than predators, these jackals are custodians of the ecosystem. By scavenging carcasses, they accelerate decomposition and prevent the spread of disease. By hunting rodents, they keep populations in check, reducing the risk of crop damage and outbreaks of parasites. Recent research by the East African Institute of Ecology reveals that woodland areas with thriving jackal populations see faster breakdown of animal remains and fewer swarms of blowflies and decay-feeding insects. They are the silent cleaners of the Miombo woodland, small, resourceful, and indispensable to the balance of life. Once again, our gaze turns skyward, not to the swift silhouettes of monkeys leaping through the canopy, but to a sudden flare of color against the rain-washed sky. A lilac-breasted roller unfurls its wings, a living rainbow painted in violet, emerald, turquoise, and a soft blush of pink across its chest. Though only 36 centimeters in length, this bird commands attention with its unmistakable flight. rolling and twisting through the air. It performs dazzling acrobatics, part hunting strategy, part courtship dance, timed with the rhythm of the seasonal rains. The downpour awakens its prey, grasshoppers stirred from cover, beetles scattered across the grass. From a low perch, the roller dives in a flash of color, snatching its quarry mid-flight. Unlike flocking birds, lilac-breasted rollers live in pairs, staking out modest territories anchored around tall trees beside open grasslands. From these vantage points, they hunt, watch, and proclaim ownership of their airspace with a sharp, echoing call. The Serengeti woodland holds its giants, even in the unforgiving grip of the dry season. Among them, the African buffalo, moving in herds that number in dozens, sometimes hundreds, advances like a slow, silent current of muscle and resolve. Beneath the scorching weight of land and sky, they do not rush. Long memory guides their steps, each path etched across generations, linking dry grazing grounds with the valley's last waterholes. Within the herd, order prevails. An experienced bull takes the lead, guiding movements and responses to threats. Females and calves cluster in the center, bound by a hierarchy maintained through subtle signals and quiet discipline. At midday, they pause beneath rare patches of shade. With bodies too massive to easily shed heat, this respite is more than comfort. It is survival. Yet hunger, thirst, and predators press against them. At the woodland's edge, leopards prowl. Their defense is unity. When one calf cries, the herd surges as one. Mobbing behavior, dozens of bodies pushing back against a predator, turns hunters away. For a leopard, a wrong calculation could mean death. An adult buffalo can charge at 50 kilometers per hour, horns curved downward with the weight of sledgehammers, enough to shatter even lion or leopard. Still, calves on the outskirts remain vulnerable. It is in those twilight hours, at the water's edge, that predator and prey test each other most. Buffalo rely less on sight or hearing, instead wielding an extraordinary sense of smell to detect danger. They cluster tight, compensating for their weaknesses with sheer collective strength. Their diet, limited almost entirely to dry grasses, forces them to roam farther as the season deepens, competition sharpening between dominant males. But this strength can turn ferocious. Each year, across Africa, buffalo claim more human lives than many apex carnivores, an estimated 200 deaths annually, surpassing even lions and crocodiles. Wounded or provoked, they strike with terrifying unpredictability. Some stories tell of buffalo that return the next day to confront a hunter, memory fueling vengeance. Yet behind the horns and fierce gaze lies resilience. Their grazing clears thickets, their waste fertilizes the soil, their movements shape the landscape itself. Ecologists call them living fortresses, shields against predators, architects of the ecosystem. And here, in the Serengeti, their clash with the leopard forms one of nature's most iconic duels. One armed with persistence, the other with precision, both driven by hunger, water, and the relentless demand to survive. But even for the leopard, there exists a rival far more dangerous, a creature it hesitates to face. Following in the footsteps of the lion, the silent sovereign of the hunt, emerges the spotted hyena, a strategist in its own right. Its eerie laughter ripples across the savanna, carried on the dry wind. Sometimes it marks the triumph of a stolen feast, other times the quiet reward of a kill unchallenged. Yet always, it chills the night air. As dusk falls, hyenas materialize like shadows, trailing the endless herds of wildebeest and zebra. Opportunists by nature, they hunt and scavenge, preying on the young, the weak, or the weary. They follow the migration with patience, waiting for a single misstep, a moment of weakness, ready to strike or to steal from another predator. Each encounter is a silent battle written into the rhythm of survival. Communication is their weapon as much as their teeth. The strange, high-pitched laugh is not mere amusement. It is a coded signal, carried far across the plains. It rallies the clan when prey appears or when opportunity beckons. To the hyena, sound is strategy and laughter is power. Their society is as complex as their hunts. Spotted hyenas live under a matriarchal rule. The females are larger, stronger, and dominant. A daughter inherits her mother's place in the hierarchy, and the strength of the clan rests heavily on maternal status. This tightly woven structure ensures rank, stability, and advantage in a land where competition is unrelenting. Yet their importance runs deeper. Hyenas are the savanna's ecological cleanup crew. Their jaws exert a force of nearly 5,000 newtons, capable of crushing bone that few others dare touch. Where lions and leopards leave behind scraps, hyenas consume everything: flesh, tendon, bone, even calcium. In doing so, they recycle what would otherwise decay, returning vital nutrients to the land. Even in the brutal dry season, when hunger sharpens into desperation, they adapt. Hyenas will consume their own fallen kin, not from cruelty, but from instinct, a grim yet efficient means of survival. Nothing is wasted. Every death fuels the living. When they hunt, small groups of 3 to 5 are enough. Short, relentless chases can bring down impala, warthog, or even baboons. Combined with their unmatched ability to scavenge, this makes them one of Africa's most efficient predators. Every hyena is a portrait of cunning, resilience, and adaptation. On the savanna, the clan endures. They never falter, even when the matriarch herself falls. And then, across the golden grass, a flicker of movement betrays their presence. Camouflaged in tawny coats, their spots catch the light, small dark signatures of one of nature's most misunderstood hunters. On the upper branches of an acacia tree, just stripped clean of its highest leaves by a Maasai giraffe, the canopy stirs. A flash of movement ripples through the lower limbs. A vervet monkey darts from branch to branch, scattering sharp alarm calls that echo through the woodland like fractured warnings. Small in stature but striking in appearance, the vervet is instantly recognizable. Its silvery gray coat frames a black face and piercing, cold, dark eyes. A long tail balances each leap across the treetops, while adult males display a pale blue patch of skin on their bellies, a vivid signal in social encounters. True opportunists, vervet monkeys thrive on variety. In the rainy season, their diet expands to include fruits, seeds, insects, and tender leaves. Their ability to forage both in the canopy and on the ground allows them to capitalize on the abundance brought by the rains. Yet abundance attracts danger. To survive, vervets rely on cooperation. In coordinated groups, they remain vigilant. At the faintest shadow of a leopard or the heavy wing beat of a martial eagle, a sentinel's shrill alarm pierces the silence. These calls not only warn their own troop, but ripple outward, alerting other species as well. Remarkably, vervets can distinguish predators, issuing different alarm calls for threats from land or sky. Within their troops, a strict hierarchy shapes movement and defense. as dominant individuals lead and safeguard the group. The rains also mark a season of exploration. Vervet troops range further afield, probing new patches of canopy and damp grasslands, lands rich in food, but also rich in risk. As their alarm cries fade into the woodland, another voice rises from the canopy. Deeper, more resonant, it rolls like a drumbeat through the trees, the call of the black and white colobus monkey. These elusive primates, known scientifically as Colobus guerreza, spend nearly their entire lives in the treetops of the Serengeti woodland. Draped in jet black fur, edged with flowing white, they seem like living shadows trimmed in silk. Their long, brush-like tails act as counterweights, and though they lack a true thumb, their curved fingers hook branches with precision, making them masters of arboreal movement. Unlike the adaptable vervet, colobus monkeys are leaf specialists. During the rains, they dedicate themselves to feeding on tender, protein-rich leaves. To digest this fibrous diet, they possess a multi-chambered stomach, much like ruminants, teeming with bacteria that break down tough cellulose. Colobus groups are small, family-based units of 3 to 15, typically led by a dominant male with several females and their young. Bonds are reinforced through grooming, close resting, and their signature resonant calls. These booming voices are not only declarations of territory, but also a way of keeping contact across the thick, rain-soaked canopy. Unlike ground-dwelling monkeys, colobus rarely, if ever, descend to the forest floor. Every aspect of life, feeding, traveling, even sleeping, takes place high among the branches. It shields them from many predators, but also ties their fate to the forest itself. In the rainy season, as branches swell with leaves and extend outward, the colobus can traverse the treetops with astonishing grace, leaping up to 15 meters in a single bound, never touching the earth below. Perched high on a barren branch, a shadow surveys the land below. It is the martial eagle, Africa's largest bird of prey. With wings stretching nearly 2.5 meters, this raptor commands the skies. From its vantage point, the eagle's piercing vision sweeps across the woodland. Every flicker of movement, a young monkey, a ground bird, or an unwary impala calf, falls within its gaze. Once locked, the descent is swift and unerring, a dive like a living spear cutting through the air. In the dry season, the rising heat stirs powerful thermals, invisible highways in the sky. Martial eagles ride these currents effortlessly, gliding for hours across their territories with scarcely a wing beat. Field studies in Kenya's Masai Mara reveal the precision of their hunting rhythm. Males averaging just over half a hunt per day, females slightly less, yet each successful strike brings several kilograms of prey, often larger targets taken by the heavier females. Their diet is diverse: young antelope, ground-dwelling game birds, and primates among their favored quarry. But their influence extends far beyond predation. By regulating populations of smaller birds and mammals, martial eagles shape the delicate balance of the Serengeti woodland, indirectly molding vegetation and prey dynamics in ways unseen from the ground. Silent, solitary, and sovereign, they are not just hunters of the sky, but keystone guardians of the ecosystem. As the apex predator of the skies, the martial eagle mirrors the leopard's role on the ground, a stabilizer of the ecosystem, a regulator of balance. Yet, this aerial sovereign now faces an uncertain future. Since 2020, the International Union for Conservation of Nature has listed the species as endangered. Habitat loss through deforestation, collisions with power lines, and escalating conflict with humans have steadily eroded their numbers. Wings that once spanned the African skies in abundance now grow fewer with each passing year. Their absence leaves not only silence in the treetops, but a void in the intricate web of life they once upheld. As the martial eagle folds its wings beneath the bare branches and the last light softens across the woodland floor, another resilient force stirs, the honey badger. Low to the ground, yet brimming with defiance, it begins its night patrol. Restless and relentless, it probes tree bases, claws into termite mounds, rips open beehives, and hunts everything from rodents to reptiles. Few species display such a boundless appetite. Insects, roots, berries, fur, bones, even venomous snakes, all fall within its reach. During the dry season, snakes can make up a quarter of its diet, a testament to its extraordinary biology. At the core of this resilience lies a molecular defense, a mutation in the nicotinic acetylcholine receptor, the very site where deadly neurotoxins strike. This adaptation grants resistance to venom from puff adders, cobras, and other lethal serpents. While not invincible, honey badgers often recover from a strike within hours, resuming the hunt as if nothing had happened. Some have been seen collapsing briefly after a bite, only to rise and finish devouring the snake that nearly killed them. Their survival arsenal does not end there. Loose, thick skin allows them to twist within a predator's grasp, biting back with ferocity. Leopards, mid-pounce, have been forced to retreat under a barrage of snarls, bites, and hisses. On rare occasions, the hunter becomes the hunted, leopards driven off entirely, and when all else fails, the honey badger deploys its final deterrent, an anal pouch capable of releasing a pungent cloud, warding off attackers or disorienting swarms of bees during raids. As night deepens and the badger continues its fearless rounds, the land itself begins to change. The low canopies of the Serengeti woodlands whisper in the wind. Yet beneath the roots, fractures spread, quiet warnings of a land under strain. Once, these open forests were pathways for elephants, the great architects of the ecosystem. But the pace of change has quickened. Farmland, roads, and fences now carve the land into fragments. Since 2024, more than 1,000 square kilometers of semi-natural habitat have been converted into agriculture. Migration routes once traveled by wildebeest and zebra lie severed. Hundreds of thousands of animals are cut off from the paths they depended on for generations. Shrub encroachment has risen sharply, 42% over 15 years in areas like Maswa and Grumeti, choking the grasslands and reducing the digestible forage that herbivores rely on. Even their calving grounds are shifting as the balance of vegetation declines. The Mara River, lifeline of the plains, has grown unstable. In the dry season of 2025, its flow fell 35% lower than it was 2 decades ago. Irrigation dams and climate change accelerate the loss, pushing elephants, hippos, and even crocodiles to retreat as the banks dry and crack. Pressures mount on every side. Around 140,000 wildebeest are taken annually for bushmeat. Lions deprived of prey face a collapsing balance of predator and quarry. At the same time, roads and resorts expand with tourism, driving wildlife further away. In the Mara Triangle, wildebeest numbers have dropped below 15,000. Even the Maasai, ancestral guardians of this land, are displaced. Sometimes for tourism, sometimes for carbon projects. The Serengeti still breathes, but its breath has grown shallow. Yet within the fallen leaves, signals of life endure. Along the Mara River, monitoring devices track changes in water flow, temperature, and humidity every hour, feeding data directly into the Serengeti Biodiversity Program. Since 2024, this adaptive management system has branched science and action, allowing conservation strategies to shift in real time. On the ground, progress shows. In 1 year alone, 535 animal traps were removed. Elephant poaching fell to zero. Arrests rose by over a third, and bushmeat seizures increased more than threefold. Canine tracking units played a role in nearly 40% of successful operations. Local voices echo, too. In communities bordering the woodlands, nearly 60% of residents report visible declines in poaching, thanks to cooperation between rangers and villages. In the courts, victories have been won. The East African Court of Justice once halted a highway that would have bisected the Serengeti, preserving ancient migration corridors. Each elephant step, each ripple of grass is now a testament to resilience. With greater unity and support, these upland woodlands can heal faster. The hardships faced by wildlife can be eased. The Serengeti is not yet silent. It still speaks, through wind, through hoofbeats, through the vigilance of those who fight for it. Its survival depends not only on rangers and researchers, but on all who listen, learn, and carry its story forward. In 2024, Namibia endured its most severe drought in over a century. Across Etosha, waterholes vanished. Hippopotamuses, creatures inseparable from water, were left stranded in drying mud, their skin cracking under the relentless sun. Blue wildebeest and plain zebras pressed onward in endless search of water, their journey guided only by instinct and hope. By early 2025, the rains returned. With them came renewal. Grasslands sprang to life and the park stirred once more. Giraffes, steenbok, and rare species like the black-faced impala seized the opportunity to graze, drawing predators in their wake as Etosha's life cycle began anew. The black rhinoceros, with its powerful build, stands up to 1.5 meters tall and weighs around 1,400 kilograms. This formidable creature carries two horns that grow continuously throughout its life. These horns are essential tools for defense and play a crucial role in fierce encounters with rivals. Despite its name, the black rhino's skin is actually ash gray, often appearing brownish from a coating of dust and mud collected during wallowing, a vital behavior that cools the body and wards off parasites in the scorching heat. Unlike the white rhino, which grazes on grass, the black rhino is a browser. It uses a pointed, prehensile upper lip, almost like a finger, to grasp tender leaves and pull them from thorny shrubs. It can survive several days without drinking water directly, extracting much of its moisture from the vegetation it consumes, an essential adaptation in this arid environment. Yet the dry season remains a relentless test. As water evaporates almost completely from the earth, even the smallest rain-fed pools reduce to salt-crusted cracks. Artificial waterholes like the one at Okokwejo become vital refuges. Here, even the typically solitary black rhino must share space with other wild animals, drawn by the rare presence of water. During the day, the searing heat drives life into the shade, but at night, under the soft glow of floodlights, the silhouette of the black rhino emerges. Its heavy frame moves steadily toward the water, ears flicking attentively, nostrils drawing in the scent of old tracks, a territorial behavior that quietly asserts its claim on this shared sanctuary. As of 2023, Namibia is home to over 2,200 black rhinos, representing more than one-third of the species' global population. Etosha National Park alone holds over 70% of this number. But with such concentration comes a heightened risk of poaching. Despite the protection offered by dedicated rangers, GPS tracking, drones, and even horn trimming to deter illegal hunting, the black rhino faces a threat far greater than nature itself: the relentless greed of humankind. Under the searing sun, the cracked ground of Etoya bears the marks of time, as the common ostrich strides confidently between the few remaining water holes. Though flightless, this extraordinary bird has adapted perfectly to the semi-desert landscape, equipped with long legs, remarkable speed, and exceptional endurance. Standing up to 2.8 meters tall, ostriches rise well above the reach of most predators. When threatened, a powerful kick from their muscular legs can deliver a serious blow to any would-be attacker. Yet their greatest defense lies in speed. Capable of sprinting up to 70 kilometers per hour, ostriches are true long-distance runners of the semi-arid savanna, where the horizon stretches endlessly. Despite their imposing size and defensive abilities, common ostriches rely heavily on group living strategies to increase their chances of survival. During the dry season, they travel in groups ranging from 5 to over 50 individuals, moving together between water sources in search of food and hydration. As omnivores, their diet is diverse, including dry leaves, seeds, roots, insects, and even carrion. When water is scarce, they shift their diet toward moisture-rich plants. Thanks to an exceptionally efficient digestive system, they can go long periods without drinking, extracting and retaining water directly from their food. At Okaujo, where precious underground water is pumped into artificial water holes, common ostriches gather alongside other herbivores. This is no place for peaceful rest. It is the center of a quiet struggle for survival, with predators never far away. In this high-stakes environment, the common ostrich is equipped with the largest eyes of any land animal, measuring up to 5 centimeters in diameter. These powerful eyes allow them to detect subtle movements at great distances, often sensing danger long before other species. During the breeding season, their behavior becomes more animated against the backdrop of the parched landscape. Males select open patches of land to perform their signature courtship displays, shaking their heads, stretching their necks, and kicking up clouds of dust with their feet. If accepted, the female lays her eggs in a shallow nest dug by the male directly on the ground. A single nest can hold up to 60 eggs, each weighing around 1.35 kilograms, larger than a baseball. In Etoya's harsh conditions, these eggs become tempting targets for a range of predators. Both male and female take turns guarding the nest, enduring ground temperatures that can soar beyond 50 degrees Celsius. The existence of the common ostrich stands as a testament to remarkable adaptability in the semi-arid savanna. In a world where speed, awareness, and social coordination are key to survival, This bird continues to run for its life, carrying the primal heartbeat of Africa into the future. A dark silhouette glides slowly across the silent sky, neither hurried like a predator, nor delicate like a migratory bird. The lappet-faced vulture moves with solemn purpose, a quiet sentinel above Halali. With a wingspan reaching nearly 3 meters and a posture that borders on meditative, it is Africa's largest vulture. Its bare, pinkish-red head and loose folds of skin, known as lappets, drape elegantly along its neck, a natural adaptation that helps keep bacteria at bay. This featherless crown is not a sign of decay, but the product of millions of years of evolution, perfectly suited to its ecological role, cleaning up what others leave behind. In Etosha, especially during the harsh, dry season, when water is scarce and food even scarcer, the lappet-faced vulture becomes a beacon of efficiency. It can detect carcasses from remarkable distances, and when a large animal falls on the barren savanna, this species is often the first to arrive. Its powerful hooked beak can tear through the toughest hides, muscles, and tendons, opening the feast for smaller scavengers. Contrary to their reputation for passivity, these vultures can strip a small antelope to the bone in under 20 minutes. And on rare occasions, they may even hunt live prey, birds, reptiles, hares, or fish, demonstrating a surprising adaptability and opportunism. Yet despite their prowess, their numbers are in steep decline. As of 2024, only around 6,500 lappet-faced vultures remain in the wild. Their greatest threat, poisoning, often unintentional, as they feed on carcasses laced with pesticides or toxic chemicals. Habitat loss and a dwindling supply of large mammals have only deepened the crisis. Today, the International Union for Conservation of Nature lists the lappet-faced vulture as endangered, a stark warning for its future. In Etosha, its role remains irreplaceable. By swiftly removing carcasses, it helps prevent the spread of bacteria, viruses, and other pathogens that threaten both animal and human life. Without spectacle or glory, the lappet-faced vulture performs one of the savanna's most vital tasks, presiding over the final chapter in nature's cycle and keeping the wild in balance. The black-faced impala is a rare subspecies found only in the arid landscapes of southwestern Namibia, with its largest population centered in Etosha. Here, it quietly endures, its survival a testament to caution, resilience, and remarkable adaptability in a harsh, unforgiving environment. Unlike its more widespread relatives, the black-faced impala is easily distinguished by a striking dark stripe running from nose to eye, complemented by a rich, deep brown coat tinged with a subtle purplish hue. Larger and darker than its Eastern and Central African counterparts, its coloration provides a natural advantage, camouflage against the dust and glare of intense desert sunlight. Rather than forming vast herds, this impala adopts a more intimate, flexible social structure. Groups typically number between 3 and 15 individuals. Though during the breeding season, these may temporarily merge into larger herds to better safeguard their young from predators. Adult males usually live apart, approaching female groups only during periods of estrus, before retreating once more. This behavior minimizes conflict and helps maintain stability within the population. As of 2024, the global population of black-faced impala stands at around 3,000 individuals, with only about half of them remaining in Etosha. This subspecies is classified as vulnerable due not only to its limited geographic range, but also the growing threat of hybridization with the more common impala. Yet amid these challenges, Etosha has emerged as a sanctuary, now the largest protected area in the world dedicated to preserving this subspecies. It stands as one of Namibia's proudest achievements in native wildlife conservation. Though it shares the striking black facial stripe with its close relatives, the gemsbok moves with a calm, deliberate gait, distinct from the slender grace of the impala. Its long, straight horns and solid muscular frame lend it a formidable presence on the arid plains. Its sword-like horns, reaching up to 120 centimeters, are among its most iconic features, making the gemsbok one of Africa's most visually distinctive antelopes. A smooth, gray-brown coat, boldly marked with black and white on the face, legs, and flanks, allows it to vanish against the stony, sunlit terrain. During the dry season, when temperatures can soar beyond 45 degrees Celsius and most wildlife gathers at dwindling waterholes, the gemsbok stands apart. It has evolved a remarkable independence from water, capable of surviving for weeks or even months without drinking. Its diet shifts with the season, from dry grasses to roots, tubers, and fruits like the desert melon, all rich in moisture. Remarkably, it can dig over a meter deep into parched earth to unearth hidden reserves, a survival skill finely tuned to the unforgiving rhythm of the desert. Its physiology is equally adapted, capable of tolerating internal temperatures up to 45 degrees Celsius without sweating, conserving every drop of precious moisture. A specialized network of blood vessels in the nasal passages, known as the carotid rete mirabile, acts as a natural cooling system, lowering blood temperature before it reaches the brain and shielding the central nervous system from heat stress. At night, as the air cools, the gemsbok releases stored heat without moisture loss, an elegant thermoregulation cycle, honed by evolution to thrive in one of Earth's harshest environments. Primarily crepuscular, it moves at dawn and dusk when temperatures are gentler, light is softer, and predators are less active. When threatened, the gemsbok can sprint at speeds of up to 60 kilometers per hour, fast enough to outrun most predators. Yet, instead of fleeing immediately, it often turns to face the danger, lowering its horns in a bold, defensive stance. It's a posture so commanding that even seasoned hunters hesitate. In Namibia, the gemsbok is more than just a creature of the wild. It is a national emblem, proudly displayed on the country's coat of arms, symbolizing both cultural identity and ecological resilience. With an estimated national population of around 373,000 individuals, this antelope has maintained a firm stronghold, supported by stable habitats and forward-thinking conservation policies. Within Etosha National Park, particularly in the quieter, less-traveled regions of Dolomite Hill and Olifantsrus, the gemsbok lives undisturbed, preserving ancient behavioral patterns in a landscape that remains remarkably close to its original form.